Greetings, and welcome to the High Flying Tutors Academy channel. Today I'm going to help you with this question where we'll be preparing or calculating sales budget, production budget, material purchasing budget, and as they call it, raw material purchasing budget, direct labor budget, and manufacturing overheads budget. All right, so I want us to go through this question, and obviously you always know that I have an answer sheet where we are going to do our workings and record or prepare our work. There we go, that is our answer sheet. So I'm going to try and explain in a better way that is explained in detail and better understanding. All right, so let's look at this question. They say the business B manufactures desks for use in tertiary institutions. Each desk consists of 1 meter of pressed wood, which costs 49 rand per meter, 3 meter steel tubing, which costs 79 rand per meter, and 10 screws, which cost 1 rand each. Direct labor is 2 hours and 12 minutes to complete a desk. Workers are paid 22 rand per hour. Fixed overheads are 65 rand, and variable overheads are 11 rand 25 cents per unit, right? So that is the information to prepare or to produce, produce one table or one desk, right? So let's see the following information that is applied right there. They say the following information is supplied. They gave us opening balance and closing balance of pressed wood, steel, tubing, screws, and completed desk, of which completed desks are finished products, right? And then they say to you, business B is estimating sales of 1,000 desks in 2019 at 499 rand per desk. Required, draw up the following budget: sales budget, production budget, material purchasing budget, direct labor budget, manufacturing overheads budget. All right, so I want us to go and start and prepare with the information provided in this question to go and calculate or prepare sales budget. All right, sales budget. So sales budget, as we go to our answer sheet, our sales budget, this is how we calculate our sales budget. Our sales budget right there. Our sales budget is equal to sales units. Sales units is the number of sales units. Let me just do this. So sales units, I'm going to give you the formula for sales units are the number of units to be sold or estimated to be sold in that year, multiplied by selling price per unit or sales price per unit. Selling price per unit, right? So the formula is sales units. Sales units, these are the number of units to be sold or estimated to be sold in that year, all right? Multiplied by selling price per unit for those particular units that we are producing, all right? So let's go and check how many units are estimated or how many desks are estimated to be sold. Here is the information for sales budget. They say business B is estimating sales of 1,000 desks in 2019 at for 499 rand per desk, right? So 1000 is the sales unit here, sales unit. 1000 is the sales unit. So it means you're gonna say 1000, you multiply by selling price per unit. Your selling price per unit is there as well. It's is 499. All right, 499 per desk. So that is selling price per unit. And then we come this side, we say 499. All right, and then let's see how much is our sales budget as per estimated. Let's see how much is our sales budget. On our calculator there, we're gonna say 1000 multiplied by 499. So I am getting a sales budget of 499,000. That is the sales budget. That is the sales budget. I'll just try to highlight it there. All right, that is our sales budget. All right, and then we are done with the sales budget. Now we are going to production budget. So production budget is based on the finished product. And and we are going to just do that. All right. So now the production budget is, I'm gonna start with the formula, is the sales units, of which is going to be this 1000 sales units. All right, and then you add closing inventory for the complete desks, closing inventory. All right, and then let me just do this. You add closing inventory. All right, and then you less opening inventory. And then you're gonna get units needed for production, or units to be produced. Units needed for production or units to be produced. Okay, and then from there we are done. This is the format for production budget. Now already we have 1000 sales units that are given already right there, which is this one from here. All right, of which is also given in the information or in the question paper. All right, and then now what do we need? We need closing inventory because we need to add. So we're going to focus on the completed desks. All right, because this we deal with the complete or finished products. All right, so our finished products there, opening and closing, is 93 and 78. So closing 78, right? So it means now we are going to follow our formula. We're going to follow our formula. So we are going to add our closing inventory or our closing completed desks, which is 78. We add that 78, and then we are going to less the opening inventory. The opening inventory for completed desks is 93. All right, so we're going to subtract that. We less 93. Okay, and then now how much is our units to be produced? Units to be produced is going to be 1000, which is our sales units. We add closing inventory 78, we subtract 93. So I'm getting units to be produced of 985. 985 desks needed to be produced. All right, and then we are done with our production budget. That is production budget. Now I want us to go to the material to be purchased. Materials to be purchased. So number one, we are going to calculate materials. I'm going to the material purchasing budget. We are going to start with the formula as well. So here we're going to focus on the materials needed to produce those desks, right? So we're going to say material needed for production. Material needed for production. So material needed for production, it means how many woods are needed to produce that desk, how many steel tubing to produce those desks, how many screws are needed to produce all these 985 desks, right? So now let's see, because we need to calculate for each, right? So let's see, let's go to let's proceed, and then from there we are going to add our closing inventory. We're going to add our closing inventory. Closing inventory for what? For each material, for pressed wood, for steel tubing, and for screws. All right, and then we'll have to again less opening inventory. We're gonna less opening inventory, all right, and then after lessing opening inventory, we will get material needed for purchase, or material that need to be purchased, right? So we're going to get material needed for purchase. We're going to get material needed for purchase. Material needed for purchase, or material that need to be purchased. How many are there? All right, so let's see. From there, I'm going to start the calculation for this, and then after that I'll calculate the cost of all materials. All right, so now let's start with material needed for production. Material needed for production, how many woods or meters of woods are needed to produce 985 desks? Let's start with the wood. So I'm going to open brackets there, and then let's go and check. The brackets will be where I'm going to do calculations for each material. So if you check on our information there, they are saying each desk consists of 1 meter of pressed wood. 1 meter of pressed wood that cost 49 rand. All right, so but now I need the number of meters to produce 985 desks. All right, so I'm going to say 1 meter for wood. I'm going to say 1 meter multiplied by 985. 1 meter multiplied by 985, and I'm going to get 900. I'm going to get, let me do this. I'm going to get 985 meters of wood. All right, and then I'll proceed to the next one. I'm going to calculate for steel tubing. Steel tubing, they say to us right there, 3 meter steel tubing, which costs 79 rand per meter. So for me to get the number of meters to produce a complete 985 desks, I'm going to say 3 meters. I hope you guys are following. 3 meters multiplied by 985 desks, right? And then how much there? Let's see. Just gonna put it right there. Let's see how much. Put that on the calculator. It's going to be 985 multiplied by 3 meters. All right, and I am getting 2,955 meters. All right, that is for steel tubing. And then I'm gonna go again and calculate for screws. So now they say, what are they saying about screws there? Let's see. They say here, they say 10 screws which cost 1 rand each. So each table or each desk, actually, I mean to say, each table need 10 screws. All right, so it means I have to calculate how many screws are needed. So it's going to be 10 screws multiplied by 985 desks. All right, and then how many screws are needed right there? How many screws are needed right there? So I'm going to see. Let's put that on the calculator. 10 multiplied by 985. So I am getting 9,850 number of screws needed to produce 985 desks. All right, that's what I'm getting. And then we are going to proceed now. All right, so let's go and calculate or determine the closing inventory for pressed wood, for steel tubing, and for screws. All right, so for closing inventory for screws, for pressed wood, how many meters there? Let's see on the question. How many meters are closing for pressed wood? Is 108. 108. Okay, 108 meters. All right, and then we go for steel tubing. How many meters are closing? How many meters are for closing? Is 92. Closing, closing is 40 meters. Sorry, 40 meters. All right, so for steel tubing, closing is 40 meters. All right, and then how many screws are closing? Screws for closing is 280. 280 closing balance for screws. All right, so let's go there. 280. All right, and then let's go and determine our opening inventory. Let's go and determine our opening inventory for pressed wood. How many meters are for closing? Let's go there. Opening, not closing. All right, opening. So how many meters are for opening? Opening meters for pressed wood is 92. 92, we come here, we say 92 meters. And then for steel tubing, opening balance for steel tubing is 56. 56, all right, opening for steel tubing is 56 meters. All right, and then how many screws are for opening? How many screws are for opening is 410. 410 screws are for closing, opening. All right, 410 opening. All right, and then now we need to calculate the material needed for purchase. How many meters of wood must we purchase, and how many steel tubing must we purchase, and how many screws must we purchase? All right, so let's see. Some of you call this material required for purchase. All right, no problem. So we are going to say Remember, these ones we can put in brackets, but our formula is telling us that we need to less this, so no problem. We can put in brackets. Let's see. Just to indicate that in accounting, when we subtract, we put brackets. All right. And then now let's calculate. Let's start with the pressed wood. With the pressed wood right there, we are going to say 985 meters plus 108 minus 92. Minus 92, I am getting 1001 meters of wood are needed to be purchased or are required for purchase. All right, and then let's go for steel tubing. For steel tubing is going to be 2,955. You add closing of 40 meters, you less opening of 56 meters, and then I am getting 2,939. 2,939 meters of steel tubing needed to produce 985 desks. All right, and then how many screws are needed? How many screws are needed to be purchased? You are going to say the number of screws is 9,850. 9,850. You add 280 screws closing, you less opening 410. And then I am getting 9,720. I mean to say 9,720. This is material that is needed for purchase. All right, this is material needed for purchase. Just gonna highlight them like this. All right, and then now we are done with the number of materials or number of materials needed for purchase. Right now we need to determine the cost. We need to determine the cost. So I want us to go and calculate the cost for each material. I'm gonna say total cost, right? Total cost for each material. Total cost for each material. So total cost for each material, we are going to start with the wood. All right, so the wood, calculate the total cost for the wood. In brackets there, we are going to say 1,100 meters. I mean 1,001 meters multiplied by price per meter. Price per meter. So price per meter is in our question. They say 1 meter of pressed wood which cost 49 rand. So we're going to multiply by 49. 49. So 49 rand there. And then how much is the total price or total cost for 1,001 meters for wood or for pressed wood? Let's see. Put that on the calculator. So it's going to be 1,001 multiplied by 49. So I am getting 49,000 rands. 49,049 rent. 49,049 rent. Okay, that is for the wood, right? And then for tubing, steel tubing, right? Steel tubing, I'm going to say 2,000 in brackets, 2,939. You multiply by cost price per meter. Cost price per meter for steel tubing. cost price per meter for steel tubing is 79 rand. Okay, so it means I have to multiply 79 rand. They say steel tubing which costs 79 per meter, so I'm going to multiply by 79 rand. All right, and then let's see how much is our tubing. I'm gonna put the money there. All right. So how much there? Let's see. 2939 you multiply by 79. All right, I am getting 232,181. All right, after putting that on my calculator, I am getting 232,181, which is 232,181. That is for that is the price, that is the total price for steel tubing. All right, and then for screws, I'm going to calculate for that. So it's going to be total number of screws, which is 9720. All right, multiply by selling price per screw, right? Selling price per screw. So let's go and check in our additional information there, or in our information provided. They say to you 1 rand each. They say 10 screws which cost 1 rand each, so I'm going to multiply by 1. Cost price per screw is 1 rand, so I'm going to multiply by 1 rand there, and I'm going to get how much? Let's see, it's going to be 9,720 again. All right, that is total price for each material. Now after that, you will need to calculate the total cost. You will need to calculate the total cost for all material. Total cost. Total cost for all materials. Total cost for all materials, obviously you're going to add everything, right? So it's going to be equal to 49. All right, it's going to be 49,049, which is the total cost for pressed wood plus total cost for steel tubing. All right, and then plus total cost for screws, which is 9,720. All right, and then how much there? Let's see, let's add everything. Plus it's gonna be 49049 plus 232,181 plus 9,720, and then I am getting a total cost of all materials, which is 290,950. So now, after calculating the total cost for all materials, you will be done with the material purchasing budget, because that is where we are going. So this is the final answer that was needed. So please be careful, always, all the time. Make sure that you reach this final answer here. All right, that is your material purchasing budget. Number one, you first gonna calculate the total number of material needed for purchase. After that, you're gonna calculate total for each. After that, you're gonna calculate the total for all materials. Then you'll be done with the material purchasing budget. All right, and then now we are going to the direct labor budget. Direct labor budget. So with the direct labor budget, number one, you need the formula. or the format. So the format is as I was saying, direct labor budget is equal to total number of hours worked. Direct labor budget is equal to total number of hours. Worked to produce again. All right. Total number of hours worked to produce 985 desks multiplied by rate per hour. All right, that is how I find it easy to put that format. All right, and then now to follow this formula, obviously you need, now number one, you must have the total number of hours. So I want us to go and calculate the total number of hours. All right, because if you check according to the information given there, they say direct labor is 2 hours and 12 minutes to complete a desk. So this is how I'm gonna use my common and general knowledge to get this. So I say, because we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, right? So to calculate our total number of hours worked, we need to calculate total number of hours worked. All right, so let me do this. Total number of hours worked. That's what we need to calculate. Okay, so what we can do is to say, let's convert 2 hours into minutes. That's what I'm gonna say. Let's convert that 2 hours to minutes. So to convert that 2 hours to minutes, you'll have to say 2 hours multiply, because firstly I want us to actually calculate total number of hours needed for one desk. Total number of hours needed, total number of minutes to produce one desk. So total number of minutes to produce one desk is going to be, firstly we've got 2 hours and 12 minutes, right? So I think we can say 2 hours multiplied by 60 minutes, right? And then we also add 12 minutes. Then how many? This is the formula to calculate total minutes. Total minutes right, to produce one desk. It's a long process, but he is going to reach the right answer. Total minutes to produce one desk is equal to, let me just do this, right? 2 hours multiplied by 60 minutes plus plus 12 minutes. So how many total, how many minutes to produce one desk? It's going to be 2 hours multiplied by 60 plus 12. I'm getting 132 minutes, right? 132 minutes. 132 minutes. Number 2, step number 2, I want us to calculate minutes, total minutes required to produce, right? Total minutes to produce 985 desks, right? Which is going to be 132 minutes multiplied by 985. Then we're gonna get the total minutes to produce all desks that are required, which is 985. All right, times 985 multiplied by 132, or 132 multiplied by 985. All right, so I am getting 130 and 20 minutes. All right, then from there, remember, we need a total number of hours worked. We don't need the minutes, but now we've got total number of minutes to produce all the desks that are required. All right, number 2, I want us to go and convert all those minutes. We're gonna convert all those minutes to hours. Then we're gonna get total number of hours worked. So now we are reaching to the answer. Total we are going to calculate the answer, which is total number of hours. Total number of hours. So with total number of hours, now we are just going to convert the number of minutes, which is 130 and 20 minutes. We divide by 60. How many hours worked there? Let's see. I'm getting 2,167 hours. Worked. All right, so now we got the answer of hours. Now we've got total number of hours. That means we can go and calculate now. We're gonna say total number of hours worked, which is 2,167. You multiply by, I'm just trying to explain so that we see if we can manage, right? We multiply by rate per hour. Rate per hour is 22 rand, right? Workers are paid 22 rand per hour. All right, so per hour there, so we're going to say multiply by 22. All right, so how much is our direct labor budget there? Let's see. It's gonna be 2,167 multiplied by 22. So I am getting 49,674. That is your direct labor budget. Direct labor budget. All right, that is your direct labor budget. That is your direct labor budget right there. And then we are done with our direct labor budget. Now we are going to calculate our, I know this one was a process, but you either you were going to convert minutes to hours or hours to minutes, and then you do the way I did. All right, so you decide which one works for you. All right, but at the end of the day, you must get the right answer, which is your 49674. All right, that is your direct labor budget. All right, and then now let's go to the next budget, which is the last budget to do. All right, the last budget to do. So the last budget there, the formula is total fixed cost, total fixed costs plus total variable cost. All right, so let's go and check how much is our total fixed cost today. So our total fixed cost is 65,000, 65,000 rent. Okay, 65,000 rent. All right, then you add total variable cost, but if you check, the total variable cost is not given. All right, but they gave us variable overheads per unit, which is 11 rand 25 cents. Okay, they say variable overheads are 11 rand 25 cents per unit. All right, so meaning we are required to calculate your variable cost or total variable cost, which is going to be number of units to be produced, which is how much there, which is 985 multiplied by variable cost per unit, which is 11 rand 25. All right, 11 rand 25. Okay, and then from there you proceed. It's gonna be 65,000 plus, and then let's calculate the variable cost. Total variable cost is going to be 985 multiplied by 1125. 985 multiplied by 11,25, which is going to be 11,081 rand 25 cents. Okay, and then how much is our total or manufacturing overhead budget? Plus 65,000. So I am getting 65,000 plus 11,081 and 25 cents. I'm getting 65,000. No. I'm getting 76,081 25 cents. That is your 76,081 and 25 cents. That is your manufacturing overheads budget. All right, very simple, very easy, tricky, bit tricky, but simple. Okay, so this is your budget. This is your budget, sales budget, the production budget, material or raw material purchasing budget, direct labor budget, manufacturing overheads budget, and we are done. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. And please, also, there is a Thanksgiving there. It's just 14 rand. Please donate there. If you are getting help from this, I think you must at least appreciate and give something there. All right. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. And also, as we are in the season of exams, please note that we are offering private sessions for financial accounting, practical accounting, cost and estimating at a lower price. And if you need help with that, you can put a comment and then I'll get back to you right there. And salute.